brought to you by IWCRadio.com. It's the internet's most irreverent wrestling podcast. Now, please welcome Beans, Smoot, Chucks, and Will. This is the IWC.
Hello everyone and welcome to IWC Radio. This is episode 164 and we're coming to you live on youtube.com and iTunes. I'm your host Martin Nolan and I'm being joined as usual by Will and Smoot. How is it going, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm doing okay. I have Hawaiian Punch this week.
Hawaiian Punch.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a while. I'm gonna be nursing this for a bit and then I'll open up the audio whoop-ass here.
Oh, right, okay.
So.
Well, in the meantime, I've been sitting on this bad boy.
Yeah, there we go.
And half of it just splodged over my screen.
Oh, no.
I can't join in this week, I've got nothing. Feel very left out.
And I'll also warn you, this is alcohol as well, so this can't be good for the show.
Oh my god.
Oh, boy.
Yep, I do apologise.
Drinking on air. It's never good.
Drinking on the job.
Did you never listen to the voice of wrestling?
Yeah. I'm sure that... I mean, that's more of a show talked about than any other, I suppose, so that could be a good thing, I don't know. But yeah. Unfortunately, Chucks isn't with us at the moment. And if Chucks is listening, which he isn't, Ed's not very happy with you. So he said, how the hell is Chucks not around for the Battleground preview show? It's Battleground, the greatest thrill ride of the summer.
That's a good point.
I think it's the greatest line because you're waiting for SummerSlam to happen. So Battleground's basically the line into SummerSlam, in my opinion.
Oh, so it's the worst bit of it.
Yeah.
It's the waiting portion. That's not good. So yeah, obviously we have Battleground to be previewing, which is tomorrow night, which is a SmackDown Live pay-per-view, and I haven't seen the wonderful build-up to Battleground, thanks to Sky Sports.
Oh dear. What happened?
Basically, they I think it was on Monday, I think it was.
Yeah.
They rebranded their channels. So basically, there used to be Sky Sports 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now they've kind of rebranded them all. So each channel is specific to each sport. So it's like Sky Sports Football, Sky Sports Golf, and there's one called. Sorry.
That kind of makes more sense than just having like a number associated to it.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, so they've got one channel called Sky Sports Arena, and they're now putting WWE stuff on that channel. And basically anyone that's got all the recordings set up as like a link so that it records every week, it didn't do it this week. So when I went to watch SmackDown on Wednesday, I didn't have it. And then when I went to try and get it from demand, all it did was keep downloading last week's episode, the one that I'd already seen.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw a very brief highlight show that they did, which was SmackDown condensed into 3 minutes, and it was the most exciting SmackDown I've ever seen. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think I kind of got the gist of everything that happened, but it was so bizarre. They just basically what they did is they tried to do all the promos throughout the show. But all the matches that they took place, so whilst the promos were still being said, you got the matches like overlay the voiceover. It was the only way, obviously, they could condense this into 3 minutes. So it was very hard to understand when John Cena was cutting a promo about his patriotism for America, and then it was showing Charlotte and Becky Lynch having a match, and then Charlotte tapping out to Becky Lynch, and then John Cena then being attacked. I didn't hear it properly. It was weird because it completely threw you. But Yeah, so I heard that he'd said something relating to 9/11.
Yeah. He was
Do
trying
you
to
know
compare,
exactly?
he was trying to compare his match and how, through like the toughest of times, the American flag still stands tall, and he lumped in 9/11 through that, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty uncalled for, honestly, but
Yeah, I'm not a fan of terrorist incidents being brought into storyline.
yeah.
But you're forgetting this is the man that caught Bin Laden himself.
That's
Oh
true.
God!
Yeah.
So, he's allowed.
How was it that they described it that he'd been neutralized or something?
Yeah.
We've neutralized Bin Laden. What? But you murdered him?
And then they
Now,
played.
I know that this was a very detestable human being,
Yeah.
but it was a bit strange when you heard them.
And then they played Lex Luger's music after that.
Oh God!
The other thing with that promo that he did on SmackDown, the second most offensive thing was probably say that there's a finish line in a flag match. I was like, since when?
Yeah.
A finish line?
Yeah.
The hell's that mean?
Apparently there's going to be a finish line.
Well, Rusev kind of did it at the end as he walked out. There's basically on the stage, there's two sort of, what do you call them? The things where you put the flag in.
The holder.
The holder. That's a good word. Hold on. And basically, yeah, you've got to take your flag off and then put it in the holder.
Oh, so basically, this isn't a good old fashioned flag match. It's a fucking revolutionary flag match.
Yeah.
How dare they?
It's like a flag match with a bit of a stretcher match involved. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was there?
It's just said in the chat, Bin Laden was neutralized, obviously. You guys didn't know that Cesaro was part of the US Navy SEAL team. Now I've now got mental images of him delivering the neutralizer to Osama Bin Laden, but there we go. So basically they've then got to obtain the flag from the top of the pole, carry it out ringside and place it into the holder past a line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So we know now that we're going to get this horrific scene in the match where Cena's got the flag and he's like trying to crawl towards this hole that he's got to place the flag in. Like how he did when he had to reach the WrestleMania sign when he was losing the main event spot, and it was like, no!
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh dear. So it's just going to be full of ridiculous, hammy John Cena acting.
What is half this show though is like America v everybody else. Why is that come about? Where's that come from?
I don't know, honestly. That's you kind of got a point.
Yeah, you
It is, yeah, because you've got...
You got Cena and Rusev. You got Orton and Mahal.
Mhm.
You've got AJ Styles and Kevin Owens.
Styles and Kevin Owens, yeah.
Yeah.
The face of America.
Maybe to a lesser extent, Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, God. Now, why not?
Yeah.
in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's go for it. What other matches can we turn? So we got Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis. So do we? I don't know. Is Mike Kanellis Canadian?
I don't know.
Oh no, he's from Massachusetts. Well, he lives in Rhode Island.
Sami Zayn is, I believe. He's
Yeah,
Canadian.
he's Canadian. So
Canadian,
at least we got someone against America. We'll go with that theme. Yeah, that pretty much covers most of it.
So Battleground is America v the world.
Pretty much. The only ones that isn't is oh yeah, because we've got Ty Dillinger as well. He's Canadian. He's going up against Aiden English, and he's American. So that's Canada v America again. We got the Usos versus the New Day. Well, that can be Samoa versus Jamaica for Kofi Kingston.
Kofi's Jamaican,
Yeah, because we all know he's Jamaican. And then we've got the 5-way women's match, which is a Russian versus a Samoan versus a Canadian versus an Irish lady versus an American. I mean, come on! It is perfectly laid out. I've never thought that a Battleground pay-per-view could make so much sense. So, yeah. That is quite surreal, actually, when you look at it. The only ones where it is actually Americans versus Americans in the match is the Usos and New Day. Or even though they're Samoans, though, aren't they? So, it is.
That's true. That's right.
I mean, I know obviously they all reside in America, but still.
Mm.
And the Usos were born in San Francisco, California, so obviously they got Samoan heritage, but I don't know. There we go. It's quite interesting. I'm just having a quick look through because Ed's put a few messages on while I've been yabbering on about America versus the world. So he said the flag match sounds like half of a Dixieland match. I think Ed's just trying to get the early reactions from Smoot, which we'll get to.
Yeah, should we get into that with the Monday Night Raw and?
Hell, why not? So Monday Night Raw this week basically was the entire build-up with Kurt Angle unveiling his secret that could ruin his career and could cost him his family and everything else. And basically he came out and started crying and then introduced his son, who he said that he'd had a relationship with someone. Was it when he said he came out of college or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
And then he said that this person wanted to be a WWE superstar. Superstar. Sorry, the alcohol's already started to have an effect. And that they achieved their dreams, and they was a WWE superstar, and his son is Jason Jordan, and the newest member of the Raw roster. And I'm now going to pass the microphone over to Smoot.
Yeah, let me tell you how I feel that it should have been Dixie Carter over this, because
What?
Yeah,
That was going to be my question, actually. Would you prefer this
Yes.
or Dixie Carter?
Dixie Carter.
For all like the borderline heart attack that we gave you for last week's show
Yeah.
for making you think it could be Dixie, you wanted that now?
In retrospect, yes.
Holy shit!
Like, it was like, what was it, 20 years to the date when Eric Bischoff was the GM on Raw, right? Like, it would have made sense in that regard.
Okay.
And, I don't know, it just seems like they're going off of, like, they're splitting up, rather than giving American Alpha, like, you know, something to do, they're splitting them up and seeing how they do in singles, because apparently, for whatever reason, them as a tag team on the main roster is just not cutting it. So, in a way, since Jason Jordan looks like Kurt Angle in some capacity, why not make him his son? And meanwhile, Chad Gable's been doing things on SmackDown, like having a shot at the U.S. title by being a university student in, Dayton, Ohio, a few weeks back. And then there's probably some other stuff he's going to be doing as well. Or at least hinted at from that Renee Young interview on Tuesday's show. So.
Yeah. It's just mentioned in the chat, I'm not sure if it just got the years thing wrong. He just said 20 years ago was 1997. So the Eric Bischoff thing, I think, is it 15 year then?
Maybe 15,
yeah. But yeah, the thing that really annoys me with this kind of angle is that sorry, pun not intended.
Yeah, no.
That it's where does it realistically go?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, where does these Sun storylines ever play out?
Yeah, that was kind of my other point that I was gonna get into. Is like they did it for the sake of doing it, and it doesn't really it doesn't seem like there's a future to it at all.
No.
Okay, so he's Angle's son, illegitimate son, big whoop. How's that?
mean, the only way that I can kind of see this working is in the, it's a fairly short-term story to the degree of him playing the son. But then also there's going to be the thing down the line where you find out that Jason Jordan's basically made it all up, and it's just been something he's done to, get a foothold in his career. And then that's obviously going to make Jordan the heel.
Right.
That's the only way this can go. And then obviously this whole aspect is going to be attempted to be forgotten. But even if the person later on in his career, everyone's always going to refer back to that. Do you remember when you were Kurt Angle's son?
Yeah. And the other thing, this is the third point. This whole secret leading up to it and whatnot. You had people tweeting about like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what it is." When this was something that could potentially devastate Angle's career and livelihood and everything. And you had people on Twitter, like, you were promoting people on Twitter, excited for it, that someone's collapse of a career could hinder on whatever this announcement was leading up to it,
Mm.
It
Yeah.
just didn't make any sense.
No. Ed just said as well in the chat, he feels like this is inevitably a heel turn situation for Kurt, Jason, or both, but now it's something that won't play out for months.
If anything, I think Chad Gable's going to be the one that's the heel. Kind of like the, I didn't need Jason Jordan, he was, holding me down sort of thing.
I think it's just a shame when you think, like, to NXT, when you think American Alpha was really that, they were so far, they were so over with the fans, and they were so well, appreciated, and they had great matches, and they turned a corner because both of them was in this situation where they was both in singles competition, and things didn't really feel like it was working. But then when you put them together, there was a chemistry there, and it worked. And any time that American Alpha was involved in a match in NXT, I was looking forward to it extremely because of the, like the comparisons with Kurt and the mat wrestling style. It's like the Daniel Bryan kind as well. It's just something that I really do look forward to seeing when it's going to be used. And it just seems a shame that they've gone down this road to the point where they've ended this team when they were doing absolutely nothing with them, and they pretty much destroyed them as soon as they put them on the main roster. But the way that they seem to be getting them back on track is to do this storyline.
Yeah. The weird part is, though, this revelation puts both members of American Alpha on different shows, so you gotta wait for that confrontation, which ties this all together, says Ed in the chat. Yeah, and that's another thing is, the fact that you're splitting up first off, you're splitting up another tag team. I don't know how many I think SmackDown is kind of lacking in the tag team department at the moment, to say the least. But you split up these two guys. They're on different shows now, and this is the other thing is we don't know who. And it may never be brought up, but we don't know who. The female is that Angle, slept with to have this, tie in further, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just seems like they're just doing this for the sake of doing it. As like a way to wedge these two guys onto different shows.
And I suppose, again, when you think, I suppose if you're looking at how the story could lay out, Jordan could become, quite a serious contender on Raw. And you just know that possibly if he turns heel or something, and then this plays out where he's not actually Angle's son, it's in the middle of when they're going to be doing another shake-up with the roster, and then Chad Gable will probably come out to be the rival for him on that show if they're going to go down that road.
Get the Maury Povich paternity test.
I like the fact that obviously there is something for these guys, or or at least that there's a stepping stone for Jordan at the minute. Now he's there's a limelight there, and he's obviously what's next and what's the next stage of the story for him, which is better than nothing to a degree. But also when you think that these, you hope that these guys can do things that might be a little bit more than just being in a lower mid card throughout the career. And then you get this storyline and you think, well, this is just kind of the thing that really does kind of kill you a bit. I mean, look at Mr. Kennedy. There was the thing as well about he was involved and was supposed to be Vince McMahon's son and all that lot for a period of time, and it ended up being Hornswoggle.
Kennedy would have been a better choice than Hornswoggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds hypocritical to be also saying that you wish that Kennedy had been in the same situation that Jordan's in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When you see it played out with Hornswoggle. But I think the fear is that when you look at this with Jordan, you see what they did with the Hornswoggle thing and how quickly it was swept under the carpet. Yeah. You can't help but feel that this is probably going to happen again.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I think it's going to get swept under the rug, much like, the fact that Undertaker and Kane are brothers when realistically they're not, It'll just be one of those things.
And that's that thing.
Yeah.
They kind of just went really quiet on all that aspect, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, they never played it up after they reached the last few years. It's just like, yeah, it's a little bit ridiculous. So we won't flat out do a story to say that they're not brothers, but we just won't really refer to it that much, and we'll just keep them apart.
And honestly, had it been Dixie Carter, I almost want to say it would have had more depth to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean.
And it almost feels as well that this sounds really awful as well, but there's the side of it where people was talking about Chad Gable being the son.
Oh, yeah.
As that, like people were predicting Chad Gable. So it almost feels like that may have also been something that they were thinking about.
Yeah.
But because people were talking about it, they decided to switch it with Jordan instead.
I did read a story this week that they were sort of undecided on who to choose.
Right.
Whether it was going to be Gable or Jordan. Now, I think I got this from maybe WrestleZone or somewhere, but apparently the reason they chose Jordan is a bit of a rib on Angle.
Really?
Because he's got history of dating black women.
Oh, for God's sake. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, you run a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
You produce you produce copious amounts of hours of entertainment every week that revolves around storylines, and you want to get people to follow those storylines and believe in what's being said and what's taking place. And you revolve one of your stories around something that will give you a kick backstage for a few seconds.
Yeah.
That does not help the individuals. The viewers don't care for it, and you're ultimately damaging your product.
Yeah.
It just really frustrates me, stuff like that. But anyway. We'll move on, and I don't think this helps Kurt either from the acting standpoint, because it just.
You say that, I thought actually if anything did come out of this, I thought that was one of his better in-ring promos he's done since he come back. He remembered what he had to say.
Yeah, and I get that. Do you know the thing that really annoyed me is he was on one of the kickoff panels for the last Raw pay-per-view, I think. I don't know which one that was. There's that many pay-per-views now.
Extreme
I don't think it was Great Balls. I think it might have been Extreme Rules.
Okay.
It might have been Extreme Rules. But yeah, he came on the panel on the kickoff show. And because it didn't feel scripted at all, and they were just talking, he was totally different to what he is as the GM. And he was talking about how he liked Samoa Joe, and he was talking about the competitors and saying, "Oh yeah, I've known him for quite a few years. Very fierce, very good competitor." And it was just a completely different language to what he would use on TV. The whole way that he spoke and the spacing and the way he talked in words was natural. It was a conversation.
Mm.
Whereas when you become the Raw GM and you've got to do these stupid things where you're talking on a phone or you're talking with someone backstage, you've got to do these awkward pauses in between you saying everything. And it's not a natural flow of what would happen. And there's a difference between being in the ring and doing a promo out with the crowd and controlling a crowd with how you say it and how you can have people in the palm of your hand. But when it's an absolute shite written promo,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It takes an awful lot to pull it round. I mean, we all know how good Alexa Bliss has been on the microphone recently, but we also saw the car wreck that was the This Is Your Life segment, which she could not save. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a very valid point from Ed in chat, who's saying, what does this revelation do for Corey Graves? Because he was practically in Angle's ear from the start when this whole thing came out. So,
Yeah, there was another thing. Was it before Kurt did his announcement where we went backstage again? Now,
yeah,
right. So it was just part of that. Because he did the backstage segment with him, didn't he? And he was I suppose they're just going to make him this character that's like a bit like the Bobby Heenan with insider information and kind of thing all the time. I suppose. I can see him being used like that for numerous. I mean, we've obviously seen the Big Cass and Enzo kind of storyline where he was involved in that to a degree.
Well, he brought that up again, didn't he, this week? Just before he come out, he walked over to the desk and went, "This wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you."
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
So,
if anything, Big Cass should be thanking Corey in that case, because Cass was just going to be stringing it along for who knows how long. And if it wasn't for Graves spilling the beans, who knows how long Big Cass would have been like Enzo's lackey and such.
True.
Yeah, true.
Very little thought behind it.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just the usual thing where it feels like it's treading water a bit, and you're getting a few crazy storylines that I think that by the time you come round to like Mania time, I think a lot of this will have completely disappeared or changed significantly. It's not.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like it's a long-term thing. But anyway, we'll see and hope for the best. What else have we had?
Before you move on, did you know main event was still a thing?
WWE main event? Yes.
I had no idea. I've just flipped over it on there.
If anything, I mean, I know WWE's going through like a recession because they've cut back on pyro. They don't tape the ropes for cruiserweight matches anymore, or do the canvas.
I'm quite happy with that though.
What's that?
I'm quite happy with the fact they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, same. But if anything, I mean, cut back on main event. Nobody really. Every time it gets brought up, people probably have that same reaction, like they still do that show.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's more a revenue thing because I don't think they film anything extra for main event. It's just done before tapings of Raw and SmackDown in the arenas. So I think it's more of an income generator for them because it gets put onto a TV network and they get revenue from the commercials.
I think it's mainly Raw actually. They don't really bother on SmackDown anymore.
Yeah, so I think it's the same argument as like the third hour for Raw. I think even they want to get rid of it if they could, but they just know for a fact that it makes too much money for them.
Yeah.
And saying that they do tape it for 205 Live, yeah, because I mean that's more of a branding thing. That's their home, and they don't have to tape and then untape the ropes, in between matches on Raw. So.
Whoever thought that was a good idea? Having the crew to do that during a live show. Who said, "Oh yeah, that'll be good"? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been something so genetic. You could have just, I mean, like for crying out loud, you like ring posts and everything are LED. Isn't it enough that you turn everything purple? You know, like you put your logo and everything all over it. It's just the fact that you've not changed the colour of the ropes. I mean, it would have been easier if you just changed the turnbuckle pads and that were it. Made the turnbuckle pads purple. At least then it's just literally tying on some things instead of running around with tape and... I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey-ho. So, what else have we had this week? We had the real events of Shane McMahon this week, where I don't know where exactly he was traveling from. I don't think it was the SmackDown, was it? It was...
Yeah.
I think it might have been the day after SmackDown, or possibly the morning afterwards, so it might have been. But basically, it was Rhode Island, and I believe Shane McMahon took a helicopter trip over to mainland New York, and whilst in transit, his helicopter had an engine failure, and they was forced to make an emergency landing on the Atlantic Ocean. So, this obviously gained quite a lot of media attention. Especially when, like, I didn't realize it had happened, but Laura had seen something on, I think it was Facebook, and she just tagged me in it. And when I got it, all I saw was a headline was Shane McMahon's involved in a helicopter crash. And we were just thinking, wow, like what? But yeah, he was on the news and he was interviewed, and basically he described it that there was just a loud bang from the engine above, and the pilot calmly told him that they were going to have to do an emergency landing, and he said everything was about as calm as it could be, and they was just picked up from, you know, off the ocean, and that was it. But the quite comical element of it as well was, I know we mentioned it before we started recording, but the the reporter who was asking him questions at the end also asked, "Are you Vince McMahon's son?" To which Shane was, "Yes, I am." And then gave a look to someone else, and I don't know if it was a PR rep or if it was someone from another reporter or something, but he just gave a look as if to go, "I really got asked that question." But anyhow.
I thought one of the best things I saw was on Twitter was someone linked to the story and then put a gif in of the Steve Blackman match at SummerSlam.
Oh God!
Where he fell off the Titantron, and then also in the same gif was the Hell in a Cell jump. And the quote was underneath. It was just said, his reaction was just like, "Are you not familiar with my work?"
There was a lot of people as well that weren't too happy, because I think Rusev did a tweet as well, didn't he? Where he said something like, "So this is what happens when you don't answer my calls," or something like that.
Jeez.
And it was just like people really went down his throat for he could have died and all that. I'm just trying to see if I can. Oh, there you go. He put, "When you don't respond to my video messages, you land in the ocean, Shane McMahon. Karma." It's just, oh dear. Which I'm hoping he cleared with him before he tweeted it.
There's quite a few good responses on Twitter. Shane is taking this risk-taker gimmick too far.
Oh dear. And Ed's just said in the chat as well, Matt Damon will be starring as Shane McMahon in the sequel to Sully, which will be called Shaney. So yeah, also as well, sorry, yeah, Ed just mentioned as well, like when Shane said that he was Vince McMahon's son, she then nervously said, "I'm sorry, I was told to ask you that."
Yeah.
As if to make it all the better, you know. But yeah, I mean that, you know, it's no joke, but I mean, crikey, you know, it's not every day that you end up, you know, an emergency landing in the ocean, so.
It's one of the things. It's obviously come out okay, so you know you can have a bit of a laugh about it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think obviously if it was the other way around, things would be different, but no. Good luck. Somebody seems to be a mole.
I believe we may have a certain person on the line.
On the
It's
blower.
Shane.
Have we?
How's it going,
Hey,
IWC?
Woohoo! How's it going, pal?
yeah, how's the internet?
That was me doing my Shane McMahon impression.
Oh God.
I thought it was Shane. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. I want to play Here Comes the Money, but I can't do that, unfortunately.
Shouldn't you have gone what's up and then say?
Oh, was it not? It's what's up, not how's it going. Okay, well, that's why.
I think he
he's
follows it up
billionaire and
afterwards. I think he does follow it up. He varies it slightly sometime.
Yeah. Well, fail. Can we do that again? Can we start the show again?
Well, there's your
Yeah,
audio
by all
whoop-ass.
means.
There's your audio whoop-ass.
Oh wow, the sound of the pouring was far more defined than the opening.
Yeah.
Sounded really refreshing.
It really did.
It's a Mountain Dew pitch black.
Pitch black.
Pitch black.
It's pitch black.
Is it
What
black?
the hell is pitch black?
It's Mountain Dew with grape in it.
Great.
Are you sure it's actually grape?
Yes, because it comes out purple, not actually black.
Purple.
Mm-hmm.
Not false advertising.
I know, right?
You'll be happy to know, Chucks, that Ed in the chat has just given you some lyrics for your entrance.
Oh, no.
Just said, "Here comes the Chucksy. Here we go."
That's creative. Give him an A for effort.
Yeah. He was calling you before because you weren't showing up for a pay-per-view preview show.
Yeah. Well, I'm here now. Have you already gone through the pay-per-view?
No.
No, we've literally we're just recovering from Smoot's response to the Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle
Oh,
story.
yeah. Oh, man. I wish I'd been here for that.
Well, you know it's bad when he actually wanted Dixie Carter to come out in the end.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
have been better after all that last week.
Yeah, and then we literally
Yeah.
just spoke about Shane McMahon then, and obviously the helicopter thing. So you know we've not got to the pay-per-view yet. Just before we move on, what?
Heard about this? An emergency landing in the sea?
Yes.
Yeah, he was traveling from Long Island to New York, and the helicopter had an engine problem, and it had to make an emergency landing on the ocean, and everything was fine.
Long Island to New York.
Yes.
Is there an ocean in the middle of those two places?
He was
The
trying, he was
Atlantic.
trying to fly it to the Hamptons from New York, I believe.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was the Atlantic Ocean officially, but yeah, it's the in-between bit.
It's just like a straight. Okay. Still pretty scary. That's not the way. That's not a means by which I would wish to travel. Broken helicopter.
No.
And apparently there was like little floaties on the helicopter that deployed when it got to the water to keep it
Yeah, I
afloat.
mean,
You make that sound really cute.
little floaties.
Little floaties deployed.
That sound like a nice way of you saying that you really didn't appreciate that the helicopter just shit everywhere. Sorry, I'm getting prepared for parenthood.
Yeah, right. Everything's got to have a cute name even when it's gross.
Oh, look, you've just put a load of floaties everywhere.
Yeah.
Just on a big old
Hey.
floaty.
Yeah. Let's not worry about this, shall we? For fuck's sake. So, yeah.
That's gonna be soon, right? Isn't it? Nearly that kind of time.
Yeah, I'm getting to scary time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's due 14th September is our due date, so I'm off work this week to try and get the room all prepared and decorated and ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll feel a little bit better when I know that there's actually a room that's prepared. Even though
What's
the
room
baby
looking
won't.
like right now? Is it full of
Well,
boxes and stuff?
No, we did quite well. It had a sofa bed in there and stuff, and we got rid of everything, and it was empty. And then some of Laura's relatives and friends that she knew brought a lot of baby stuff round, and it all kind of got put in there. So it's now full again of stuff. But this time it's full of baby stuff. It just needs sorting through, and obviously not what we're doing with it all. But
That could be a lot worse. You could be less prepared.
yes,
Yeah.
But also as well, when you think, I don't know how much the child will actually be in this room for the first 6 months of its life, but it needs to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too. I don't know if you are decorating or whatever. I'm pretty sure the baby's not going to take one look around and go, not up to standard. I am not sleeping in this room.
I don't know.
I think you'll be all right if it's not completely perfect.
It is possible. You never know these days.
I'm not sleeping in that room.
Yeah. It'll walk in, but it'll already walk. It'll only be about 6 hours old. It'll fully understand how to do an iPad and tell me off for not being able to use it properly.
Walking all aloof, cigarette in mouth. Just, nope, this will not do.
It better not. Hey, I can cope with the other stuff. It better not start smoking. I'm asthmatic. Ed's just said, Beans, are you letting Renee Young, Peter Rosenberg, or JBL take over for you whilst you're on paternity leave for IWC?
Oh, God,
I was thinking Sam Roberts just because he really irritates me, and I know how much that Smoot loves him.
No. What's the haps? He's a fucking knob. He's a fucking knob, for sure.
I don't watch or listen to enough Sam Roberts to know.
Good.
But is he a knob or is he just annoying? Because like,
Both.
Okay, right, fair enough.
Both.
I'm thinking like Josh Matthews is a knob. He's obnoxious and he's trying to be, something. Whereas some personalities, radio personalities, are just kind of annoying voice or whatever.
We try.
But Sam Roberts actually 100% knob. Okay.
Well, he's in that regard. No, he's not like Josh Matthews, in that respect.
No, I suppose not. Wouldn't go that far.
I swear, I'd be so worried if someone compared me to Josh Matthews.
Oh. God, how does he still have a job?
Because he's really good at advertising Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah, that's a show.
It's enough for a while.
I think Ed's not a fan of Sam Roberts either, as he's just said in the chat. Beans, if you get Sam Roberts, I will spam you with all Mojo Rawley gifts, jokes, and puns that I can find and create. So, yeah. Just before we move on to the next thing, Chucks, do you have anything you want to mention about the Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle debacle on Raw?
I hope you will now see what I was saying last week about there being a slight resemblance.
Oh my God.
Because I mentioned it last week and you all seemed a little kind of, not sure I see it. Now, even Renee said there is it's, obviously he's not his actual son, not saying that, but there is a little bit of a, not the most crazy thing that they could have come up with.
See, at least with Dixie, if it was Dixie Carter, there was like a potential that she could have been thrown into like a garbage truck, like Eric Bischoff was. Like that would have had a better payoff than whatever this is gonna have.
It could always get worse, Smoot. It could be found out that Jason Jordan's mother is Dixie Carter.
Yeah, they'll try to like save it with that. I bet. And everybody's just gonna be like, no, it's too late.
But genetics. I mean, I hope you all know what I'm.
Yes, I get what you're getting at.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Hey, you don't know. I mean, like Dixie could have done the Michael Jackson thing.
Jason Jordan could just be really tanned.
Right, Rachel Dolezal thing. Okay, yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Or maybe
and then EC3 can come back and fight Jason Jordan because he's really my dad as well, and he never loved me.
Yeah.
I think maybe Kurt did the Michael Jackson thing. He's actually a black guy. I mean, he's a great athlete, obviously. And then I don't know why he wanted to be white. I don't know that bit of the story. But then he did that rap battle with John Cena where he said that Cena was the only person in WWE whiter than Kurt is. It was a funny line. But obviously that could play into part of Kurt really trying to be white. Or Dixie, either way, I guess. Someone at some point has to,
Alright, should we get into the prediction game?
I don't think Ed's too impressed with my Michael Jackson comment either. I'm sorry. So, onto much wonderful, better things to talk about. Not.
Yeah, the Battleground prediction game.
I should accept and just move on, but I just can't. Don't you think this would have been more of a story if Jordan had jumped to Raw first and then got a bit of a push, and then it come out later on that he was Kurt's son, and then that raises questions over, did they know? Did they not know? Isn't this a little bit nepotism?
I just think it's a means of getting Jason Jordan to be a bad guy, because it's going to be found out that it's all fake and not real, and he's just faked it to try and get the limelight.
Yeah, Hornswoggle all over again.
Get a bona fide paternity test.
I thought you were talking about wrestling in general. Fake.
The whole thing. This whole thing is fake.
No,
really. It's all choreographed, and we all know what we're doing.
We don't like the F word. Now, don't be so rude.
Yeah, it seems like whatever happens with Jordan now, he kind of can't win. I mean, if he does win, then it raises questions. Aren't you being pushed too hard? And then if you don't, then what's the point? I just don't. It would have made more sense if he was still on the other show. Because then at least Kurt's not going to be accused of anything. Whatever, I guess we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Also, is Chad Gable going to be his other son now?
No.
No? Because I would quite like if Kurt became like Big Daddy Angle and had the whole Angle Boy faction.
Just wait till Shelton Benjamin shows up.
Exactly, right?
Let me introduce you to my brother.
My other son. You just do the whole Dudley's gimmick with Angles. Turns out, in his Clarion days, he was quite the cocksmith.
I've just realised how they can get around all of this. I think it was Survivor Series 2000 when Kurt Angle faced The Undertaker for the title, and his brother switched with him and took the fall.
Eric. Yeah.
Eric Angle. This whole time can turn around, and it could just be that Kurt Angle actually comes out when Kurt Angle's already in the ring, and the real Kurt Angle, the one that can pronounce WWE, will go, "That's not me!"
Really?
That would be a new angle on the angle. So...
And then we could just forget all this terrible shit that's happened.
It's true. Can we move on to the prediction game?
Something tells me Smith wants to move on.
We also have some more news to talk about, Smith.
Okay. Okay, but can we save that for later?
I thought we were doing the news before we got to the predictions.
What's the other news bit?
I thought I'd get on with it. Okay, I'll give you a quick news headline.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar has apparently re-entered the USADA drug testing pool.
Why?
This because there is a rumor that he wants to fight in the UFC again.
Isn't he suspended for 2 years or 3 years or something?
His suspension is, I believe, if he goes into this testing pool and he's clean, and I think is his suspension over or coming up to being?
No, from what I'm googling, apparently UFC is saying that rumor is what it is. It's just a rumor. Suspension's still frozen and whatnot.
Right, so Ed just said his suspension should end by July next year. His contract with WWE ends just after WrestleMania next year as well. And apparently he's not considering re-signing a new deal and would like to return to the UFC. So...
Yeah, well, we'll see if that's an option, because he got suspended, obviously, and then didn't he officially retire?
Yeah.
Supposedly, yeah.
I don't understand exactly how it all goes, but I'm pretty sure you can't just retire to wipe that whole suspension off and then come back. And I'm pretty sure you have to there's something. There's like a probation period, or
Yeah.
The
yeah,
UFC
close.
is. I think the UFC has stated that you need to be in this testing pool and you need to have prepared 4 months beforehand to prove that you're in a clean state to compete. So presumably he's doing this now so that obviously if his ban's being lifted in July, he's obviously been on their books for testing and everything in the meantime, you know, to show that he's clean and ready to fight when his suspension's over, I suppose. If that's what he's decided to do. So obviously, there was one news article saying that there was a chance that if things went the right way, he could actually fight in the UFC from November. I don't know. Obviously, with what you've just said, I don't know how viable that is. So obviously, that's brought a lot of speculation about whether he's actually going to retain the title at SummerSlam. But obviously, we'll get to that when we get nearer the time. The other slight bit of news, and I think this was something that I don't know if it happened around the time we recorded last week, but I don't think we spoke about it. It was the Alberto Del Rio and Paige situation.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So this is something that seems to be getting more and more out of control. There was an incident taking place at an airport in Orlando, I believe it was, where Del Rio and Paige got involved in an altercation, which involved police, I believe, to a degree, and a fan recorded this, or the audio of it, and basically it was a thing where Paige said on a social media account that she'd thrown beer on Alberto because they had a fight, and then the police was getting involved for Paige being done for assault and battery things, or domestic abuse, and it was because she threw the drink over Alberto. And then this audio came out from this altercation where Paige is like screaming at Alberto about not being able to get away from him, and then they're talking about cocaine, and Del Rio saying that she had loads in a bag and things like that, and it all got quite dark, really.
Yeah.
And then she's gone onto social media trying to defend that, saying that it wasn't what it appeared and things like that and such. I'm not sure of all the details on it. I mean, obviously, we don't know all the details, but it just feels like every couple of weeks there's a new layer to this, which is quite dark and quite worrying. It seems like an incredibly unhealthy relationship.
Yes. Yeah. Apparently, GFW has indefinitely suspended Del Rio, even though he is heavily involved with the next few months of tapings. So that's kind of interesting to see how that'll pan out. And I think he's currently the champion of the company as well.
Yes.
So should be something to see. I mean, hopefully, there's a decent resolution to all parties involved here. But I definitely agree. This definitely doesn't seem like a healthy relationship, to say the least.
Isn't that a shocker? I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I always thought when these two got together that they'd get married and be very happy for the next 50 years and we'd never hear anything about it again.
Ed said in the chat, I mean, I'm not about abandoning someone in need, but what are the realistic expectations for Paige to return to WWE anytime soon? And it's just one of the things, and we don't know the full story with Paige as well, because she had quite a serious, was it a neck injury, I believe, and she was going through, rehabilitation on that, and she was posting pictures saying like she was training, getting back in it, but it was still quite a bit off. But if this is, you've got what seems to be a relationship that has potential to be, pushing on board as a possible being violent and abusive, and there's mentions of drugs involved, and Paige has already had some, these 2 strikes on for the wellness policy, and there was all that controversy. Is there anyone at WWE, do you think, reaching out to Paige to try and, we all know how WWE has been supportive to people with drug issues and rehabilitation options, and I'm just wondering whether this is something, what point does WWE step in and how much do they get involved at this stage?
You'd think somebody from WWE's side of things would try to help out, but I mean, they can only do so much if the person's not willing to, better themselves at the same time,
Yeah, it is, and it's one of the things. It's just because obviously, at the moment she is still under contract with WWE as far as we're aware, and like you say, there's the element of if they don't feel that there is an issue, then obviously it's not going to solve it. And I mean, it's not to say that there is a drug issue there. All this is speculation, but it just seems like there's so much smoke going on that there must be some element of a fire in this. It's not something you don't see any good, a happy ending coming out of any of this at the minute. It just seems to be so destructive for both of them, not just for Paige. I mean, like you said, Del Rio's now in a situation where he's suspended from GFW, so it's not helping him in the long run.
Yeah. I don't know. You just have to wait and see how this plays out, honestly. I mean, the latest I've looked up, apparently, police is no longer considering Del Rio as a suspect into the matter, and I mean, maybe he'll be back on TV sooner than later. Who knows?
Yeah. Enzo said in the chat, did you see your brothers trying to reach out to fans on social media to convince her to leave Del Rio? Hard to imagine that strangers will have much of an impact on her mind. See, again, that's also something like, that's only involving the public. That's only putting the situation out there more into a spotlight. And in a situation when you know that media and news sites and everything, they're only going to go with the bad headlines on this. It's not...
Yeah.
You reach a point where you get so desensitized to everything that, you have no idea what is the truth in this and what is just being put out there for headlines. And Paige is screaming this every time she's posting something that, it's all, we don't get any privacy and it's always made up media and, it's just like...
Fake news.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be the first to claim that. And there's some kind of controversy going on. No, you've got it all wrong. Like, I'm not going to tell you what the reality is, but trust me, you've got it all wrong.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just don't want it to, I mean, we all don't. We don't want it to reach a point where we think, it has to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Sucks. Sad.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a bit of a sad thing. And I'll leave the news this week with a little bit of a positive thing.
Oh, like on local news when there's like a story about a rabbit or something at the end.
Yeah, just like it. Our rabbit news this week is today is Shawn Michaels' birthday.
Hey,
happy birthday.
And he's 52 years old. And I still want him to come back.
Did you see his table for? This was ages ago. I'm sure you did with AJ.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he gave some pretty weak excuses for not coming back, didn't he?
He talks
Just
around
watching
it.
that the other day, and it's like, I didn't want to do it because who would win? Well, AJ would win. What's the problem there? And he didn't want to come back because he felt that his career was bookended well, and this would be like a standalone thing with no follow-up. You're the only person in the world that cares, Sean. Come back. More people would like to see it, whether it makes sense continuity-wise or, wins, losses, record. Who actually cares other than you? We all just want to see the match. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Yeah.
It's my appeal to Shawn Michaels on his birthday.
Ed just said, damn, HBK made it to 52 after the craziness in the early 90s. Well, I mean, and that's a positive to turning your life around and getting things sorted, before it's too late. But yeah, it's just...
And I obviously, his days in the 90s, his demons, we always like to call them demons, that's a nice word. They're no good. What he did to his body is no good. The matches he went through also no good. But the the drug deaths that we've seen from that kind of era in the 80s, they're usually the steroid guys. And I'm not sure Shawn Michaels, one of the smaller guys of his era, I'm not sure that was his drug of choice. So I think that's probably why he's still holding up so well. He hasn't taken that same toll on his heart that a lot of the bigger guys did back then.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I obviously I saw the same table for three thing, and I thought it was quite interesting though that this was like Shawn was kind of saying like, every time Mania comes around, there's always the rumors of, being involved in a match and coming back for one. But this was the first time that Vince actually did get in touch with him about it.
Yeah, but he himself didn't seem like he was that into the idea. Like it sounded like he knows that the match would be good, and that if only it was 5 or 10 years ago, he'd have done it in an instant. But now it just seems like he's happy to be out of it and not really thinking about these comebacks. It's a shame. It's a real shame because he could still do it to some degree. He could still go. But I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah. I'm being goated in the chat room now. So Ed's just said, "Hey Smoot, should we get to predictions?" And Smoot in the chat has also gone, "Yes." And
right,
an emoji of a ticking time clock. So yeah, that was our good news of the week. Happy birthday to Shawn Michaels, and we'll see you at WrestleMania.
Happy birthday, Shawn. Because he's a big fan of the show, by the way. He's definitely listening live.
Certainly is.
Is he really?
Yes.
What else would you do on your 52nd birthday?
I don't know.
Listen to how horrifically WWE has treated Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan, and
Oh God.
and us discuss some crazy storylines that could make it all make sense.
Yeah.
Should
Yeah,
we,
luckily I've got 22 years to think about how to spend my 52nd birthday, and Bean still has 2 or 3 years left to think about.
Oh.
Huh.
But I'm bish.
This might be my last show.
You're not that old.
All right, who's got the papers to wrestle?
Here's one. That's just one sheet of paper.
I was just going to say that definitely for some reason just sounded like one sheet of paper.
It was. Good ears. Shall we start at the start? I think we usually do.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that cellophane? Like the wrapper of a flapjack or something?
God damn it.
Was it?
No, it was plastic cellophane though.
I can do this. Hold on.
Okay.
That was either a Kit Kat wrapper or someone just broke every bone in your body.
It was a crisp packet. Smoot, can you make a noise? Do you got anything? Shake around or ruffle?
Oh wow.
I was going to say that sounded like you was folding up a tent and a big gust of wind caught you.
Jesus. It's a Doritos
It was
bag.
big. Yeah, it was a big Doritos bag. There you go. Okay, well now all the
You
noises.
just don't get this shit on any other show, do you?
That's true.
No, there's a reason for that.
I know that Sean's sitting there on his birthday laughing his head off at this. I know he is.
Gets the noise, gets the rustle. Right, pre-show. Gonna move on to serious issues now. Ty Dillinger is taking on Aiden English. This is big. This could be the springboard for big things. I fully expect whoever wins this match to be in some highly promoted main event of SummerSlam. The winner of this match is going places.
If you were the GM of SmackDown, wouldn't you just love to come out at the start of the show and just say, change the things. This match, Ty Dillinger and Aiden English, winner gets a WWE Championship match at SummerSlam.
Well, after Jinder Mahal,
Worked for Jinder
that's
Mahal,
not
yeah.
the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Because when they did that, was it a 5-way that Mahal won? Of supposedly the top... No, it wasn't, because it was like Mojo Rawley and all the like halfway guys, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Actually.
Sami Zayn, I think, was like the biggest name in there. But Ty Dillinger, undefeated, wasn't in there. As far as I can remember, at least. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in there.
Wins and losses don't matter, people.
Wins and losses don't matter. So if the Perfect 10 was to get his shot, I'll be all for it. He deserves it. And that's why I am predicting him to win.
I will back that claim.
Oh, okay.
Same.
Yeah.
So, 10s all round.
10s all.
Do we get 10 points if you win?
No.
Not that it matters, because we're all picking him anyway. So.
Yeah, we'll get 1,000,000 points if he wins. So then, let's move on to Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis.
Surely
I have
one's
no
got to
idea.
prevail.
Yeah.
I'd just like how Smooth put 10 points in brackets after the first match. Yeah, Mike Kanellis has got to win this. It's his first match in WWE, so...
Didn't he just beat Zayn on SmackDown?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was one of the things that you won't be aware of, Chucks. I haven't seen SmackDown this week because Sky screwed me over.
Oh, you too. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a big fan of Sky right now.
That was before the channel changes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's all on.
How did he
Sky
win on
Sports Arena
SmackDown?
now. How did he win?
Maria got in the ring, distracted Sammy,
That's right.
and then one thing led to another, and Mike won.
Kind of surprised he did that on a SmackDown.
Probably will happen again on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm wondering
I know
now.
he's just won, so logic, or WWE logic would tell you that Zayn has to get his win back. But why? Surely Mike Kanellis should just win it.
Yeah, Sammy's a putz.
Yeah, he shouldn't be, but he is. So, I don't think a win necessarily does him any good. Loss doesn't hurt him either, so just give the new guy the win. Smoot will.
Yeah, I'm going with Mike Kanellis as well. Sami Zayn's a putz.
Zayn is a putz.
Yeah.
It's true.
I don't want to go Sami Zayn.
Oh. He likes to be different.
That's why he's in second place.
Serving him well this time, yeah. Okay. I like one of those wacky predictions every so often. That's pretty cool. Then we have Shinsuke Nakamura and Big Banter Baron Corbin.
Big banter Baron Corbin. I'm going to predict Shinsuke Nakamura because the Money in the Bank winner just never needs to win anything until they've cashed in, did it? So
Same.
It's true.
And that's exactly the same reason. You stole my reasoning, Beans. Yes, that's why I'm going with Nakamura as well.
I'm going with him. I hadn't thought of that, but no, that is absolutely right, of course.
Yeah.
I just figured he's winning everything until he gets whatever it is that he's going to be doing at the top end of the card. He's being protected until that happens. So there's no need for him to lose this.
Yep. Same reason.
Okay,
do we think that is going to be another just disappointing Nakamura showing on pay-per-view?
I hope not.
I don't think Corbin's the guy to get this 5-star match out of him.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I just kind of feel it's a bit of a lose-lose because I think it's just going to be one of them matches where everyone's going to go, Nothing really happened there, and,
Yeah.
and then it makes Baron Corbin look bad, and it makes Nakamura look bad, and
Well, I mean, Corbin doesn't care if he looks bad because he has the case to fall back on.
yeah, I suppose.
Well, we're all predicting the same things so far, so this is no good. We need to shake it up. And hopefully this will be the match to do it. We have a 5-way elimination match for number 1 contendership to the Women's Championship at SummerSlam. I now think that this is going to end in some kind of double pin so we can get a 3-way, but not enough for me to actually go for that. This is a good chance for us to all pick some different things, so please tell me you're not predicting Charlotte.
Tamina.
This is for the title match at SummerSlam.
Tamina.
Okay.
Well, I think I might have a chance of catching Smoot up at
This
this
is
pay-per-view.
no. It's gonna be like a former Team Bad members colliding here.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really know how to sprinkle fucking stardust on shit.
Wow. I think Tamina's gonna have Lana as like her manager or whatever outside, and Lana's gonna help Tamina win the.
Would it not
Lana's
be the
in the
other way
match.
round?
You'd think, but
Oh wow, you're
prior-
going TNA.
prior to Monday night, I never thought Jason Jordan would be Angle's son. So
Maybe Tamina's Jason Jordan's mother.
oh my god. I need to
How
bring
old
that,
is Tamina?
I need to bring that picture back up then of her just looking baffled.
I didn't go through it's Charlotte versus Becky versus Natalia versus Tamina versus Lana. So it's everyone. Everyone in the division.
I'm afraid to say, Chucks, that I'm gonna pick Charlotte.
Oh man.
Yeah, me too. Sorry.
Well, she did tap out on SmackDown to Becky Lynch. That means Becky Lynch ain't gonna win it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems it's one of the big 4 pay-per-views, and Charlotte's the favorite. They love Charlotte.
Is that
But yeah, I know. I'm thinking that maybe Charlotte and Becky somehow both win.
It's
So
possible.
it's a 3-way. That kind of
keep in mind
seems a shame to leave.
after this pay-per-view, there's a lot of time for stuff to happen because SummerSlam's like in late August. So
So what? Still, 4 weeks is it between?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Ed's just made a good point to you, Chucks, in the chat, saying, Chucks, does it matter if Beans picks the same as you see me, you're a mile ahead of him? Yeah, thanks for burying me, Ed.
So that's why I went with Tamina.
Yeah.
You'll even be further ahead if I fucking pick a different one than the one that's obviously going to win.
Yeah. No, I was hoping for some variation just to keep things interesting. This game kind of sucks if we all just agree.
I think, unfortunately, this is just one of them pay-per-views where it's all fairly predictable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you might be right. And speaking of predictable, John Cena's in a flag match.
Oh, shit.
God. So you're going with Charlotte real quick, Chucks, right?
Oh yeah.
Alright. Just make it official. There it is.
Make it official.
Right down, Becky.
Get in. Yeah, Cena versus Rusev in a flag match. We had Rusev lay out Cena on SmackDown and plant the Bulgarian flag in the little flag holster.
Yeah. The
So-
finish line.
The finish line, yeah. Well, more of a Bulgarian line, actually. Finish like someone from Finland.
Ah.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Well, usually when you get a funny joke, you laugh. That's the reaction.
I'm still waiting for a funny joke.
Yeah, I'm going.
Oh!
I'm picking. I'm picking Big Flag John here in this match. So. You don't reference 9/11 and not win the match that you're trying to promote. Okay, that's just you don't do that.
do.
Is
You
it
do have
really?
your Rosita in TNA.
Oh God. Well, this is
Are
not
you
TNA.
sure? Are you sure it's Big Flag John and not Big Flag Paul?
Big
No,
Flag
he's
John.
Bulgarian, not Polish.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I heard he likes Onyx.
Who you picking, Beans?
Oh. Pains me to say it, but John Cena.
Chuck?
It's like Joe.
Yeah, that's Cena. I can't see him losing this one.
Will? I mean,
Yeah, same.
he's the underdog. I mean,
Full salute.
Is he?
it,
It's gonna be a full salute. Cena's had his T plus.
he's been beaten down like so many times, and not to mention he didn't come out as the accolade, the camel clutch or whatever. So because he doesn't break out of finishers on Tuesdays, brother. So he's definitely winning by a long shot.
Maybe Cena's going on a losing streak.
No,
No, not in a.
that already
Like-
happened. That already happened.
Did it?
What? Yeah, he didn't see it.
Was I in hypersleep?
Wasn't there that time where he was losing matches and he was questioning himself if he still was capable of winning, like with AJ
Dude,
Styles?
he'd won every
One
fucking
match to the
pay-per-view.
Rock.
No. There was like a brief stint where it was with
No,
AJ
he had
Styles.
a promo where he said he'd lost everything.
Okay.
Oh, give over.
Yeah, he
lost
said
two
that he had the worst year of his career, and like he lost to The Rock, and that was about it. He got screwed in a couple of others.
Alright.
He'd lost 3 pay-per-views out of 12. Sweet shit, what a
It was
rut.
something like that. Like,
Fair enough.
Big
Fair
Show
enough.
cost him a loss against John Laurinaitis, or some stupid thing, and he still main evented the pay-per-views over WWE champion CM Punk.
Okay.
It's just said in the chat, Smoot, you're thinking of him losing to Tenzai on Raw.
Ah,
Yes, that was yeah.
maybe that's what it is.
Wow. Oh god, yeah, John Laurinaitis win. Oh god. Let's move on.
Big Johnny.
People power!
I miss him.
I don't.
He was a real dynamic dude, I thought.
Maybe he could be Kurt Angle's uncle.
Oh my God. No.
He's John Cena's uncle, isn't he? Or stepdad
Yeah,
or something.
His stepdad, yeah. Oh, stepdad-in-law, I think it is, or something.
Right,
isn't it?
stepdad in
Oh.
yeah. And he'll always have that pay-per-view win over him.
That's a yet to be named movie. I feel stepdad-in-law. Where are we going next?
I think Ed's loving the layers that I'm putting in on Kurt Angle's storyline.
Yeah.
Just wait till I get to Linda McMahon.
Oh God. Where are we going next, Chuck? What's the next match?
We will go to. We'll go from the US flag to the US title.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice. We've got AJ Styles winning on some random house show, now defending against former champion Kevin Owens.
I think Kevin Owens wins it back.
I think the way they've booked it, I would say that it's safe to say Styles would normally retain. But I am concerned that Kevin Owens is still walking around with his Titantron of being the face of America, and it never really went anywhere. And if he loses, does he just go back to what he was before? I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. They never really went anywhere with that character.
Well,
Mm.
I mean, he is a bully. Okay. Beans, who you picking?
I'm going to say AJ Styles retains.
Chucks?
Yeah, I want to say that too.
Yeah, Styles only just won it. I don't know why they did it this way. It kind of makes you think that maybe Owens got injured in that match and they called the audible, and now it turns out he's actually okay. But I haven't heard that, so there must have been some reason for it.
I think what they might have been trying to do was to eliminate the rematch thing, because if this had been where Kevin Owens was the champion and they wanted AJ to win it, then they would have had to have done the rematch thing, and obviously they've got SummerSlam coming up where I think that this kind of like ends it and gets rid of it.
They could have just done the rematch on a SmackDown, though.
Yeah, but you know, there's too
Or
many
just
shit
ignored
things.
it, because I mean, this wouldn't be the first time they've ignored a rematch clause.
Yeah.
True. You know, Kevin Owens could have just been drafted to Raw and never got his rematch. But it's, yeah, I just, you know, they've got far too many shit things to put on SmackDown, like, you know, John Cena talking about 9/11.
Wow. Wow.
I didn't mean to describe that as a shit thing, but, you know. I realised as I said that afterwards that went down the wrong road.
Jesus. That's one for the books.
No, it is not! Oh, God. I was going to say talking about a flag match, and then I thought, no, it's not controversial enough.
Well, you
Now
made
I've
it
just-
controversial.
Now I've just ended my career.
Or
little
created
one I
cash. Who knows?
Mm.
So, Styles, Owens, Styles, good. I like that Smoot has gone, you know, slightly off script. That's cool. So, let's do the tag match with the Usos versus the New Day. Last month or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, the Usos retained by walking out, which was lame as hell. Is this one going to be the clean finish, or are we going to get like a DQ this time, or something equally as weak?
I think somehow the Usos retain, and then we'll see maybe potentially like a rubber match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm going with the Usos. Mainly because they were straight fire from that rap battle.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. I think that logic could tell you that New Day should probably win this one, and then they could do a rematch at SummerSlam, but I just kind of feel that they're going to just do the same as the last pay-per-view, where they managed to scrape out of it, and it just builds up to having like a final chance at SummerSlam. And maybe they do a New Day breakup at SummerSlam then.
Ooh,
Ooh.
that's a bold prediction.
Yeah, that is a bold prediction. So, are you thinking, with the kind of scraping out with the belts, are you thinking maybe a New Day win by...
I'm going to say this is what happened last time, isn't it?
Yeah,
we all... No, I'm going to say that Usos actually get the win on this one. I don't think they'll do the count-out thing again. I don't think they do DQ. I could just see some cheating or something, or... I don't know.
I'm also going Usos, and I'm thinking something like they get the pin with the foot on the ropes, the ref doesn't see the foot on or under the rope, or like something a bit wacky like that.
Yeah.
So there's like an excuse for New Day to bring up.
This might be the dusty finish of the night for the card.
Maybe they could attack, like Xavier's not in the match or something, attack him on the outside, roll him in and pin him even though he weren't in the match. Something that causes controversy or something. I don't know.
Some kind of distraction leading to a roll-up.
Yeah, we love those distraction roll-ups.
We do. They are just the best.
Also,
Usos to me as well.
Usos all round. Okay. Great. And I will write that in with the Usos pen. Potentially.
here's the
So,
Oh my god.
Jesus.
here's the
I felt bad for the comment that I made a few minutes ago, but damn.
I missed it. I missed it. I have to go back and hear it.
don't bother.
Okay.
No.
Here's the New Day Tag Team Championship replica title belt going for about $500. And it looks tacky as hell. Look at this. Look at that.
You've just given Ed an heart attack in the chat when he's just seen $483 for a belt.
Yeah, right?
Oh god, it's $483 because the reign was 483 days.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's only 483 being made as well.
Right. Anyway. So who did Will pick? Usos, right?
Usos.
If they sell them all, they'll make nearly $250,000.
Yeah.
You'll see them on the clearance line soon.
Main event.
But they'd have to sell them on clearance for however
What?
many days that they held their next titles for. If they hold them between Battleground and SummerSlam, they'll have to sell them for like $30 or something.
I was just gonna say they'll sell them for $48.30.
Okay. Okay, I see like a 90% off. Yeah, I like that. Right, so, or maybe they split up, like Big E goes into singles, and then they sell it for a third off. Yeah.
I've not got enough alcohol.
Alright. Okay, fine, whatever. We then go to
Sorry. It's just followed up with wait, so can Bruno Sammartino sell WWE titles for $2,803?
Probably, if he had one of the actual so probably buy for that.
I don't know if anyone else got that, but you went extremely RoboCop on us. And
Yeah.
Sky striking you down.
Bloody Sky.
Bloody Sky. Let's get this over with then. Punjabi Prison match. Jinder Mahal retaining against Randy Orton. Defending against Randy Orton. There's, I'm guessing, no Singh brothers in this one.
Oh yeah, there is.
But
yeah, there is.
How are they going to get in? No one can get in or out of the Punjabi Prison.
They'll find a way. They'll find a way.
Just climb over.
It's no DQ. They'll find a way.
Great Khali will come round and just like rip the side off.
Yeah, they'll hide under the ring.
Did it on SmackDown. You just climbed over it.
Because it hasn't got a roof. Stupid fucking prison.
Yeah, I'm going for Mahal because I mean it's his match stipulation, and much like Bray Wyatt, you gotta win your match stip that you call out. So going for Mahal.
Unless you're Chris Jericho and you create the Money in the Bank match.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
Didn't he like win one of those?
No, he never did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going for Mahal too.
Same.
Don't hinder Jinder.
Oh.
No one is hindering Jinder.
1 week, Will. We was trying to get through without that. Just 1 week. Oh.
As long as I'm here, that's never gonna happen.
You do know that Khali never won a Punjabi prison match, though, and Undertaker never won a buried alive match. I don't think
never won a buried alive match.
I don't think Khali ever participated in a.
Yeah, he
Punjabi
was
prison.
in the second one.
The second one, okay.
In the second one, I guess against Batista,
Yeah.
and Batista won.
Yeah, they just kind of like fell through like a garage door or whatever. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't that where he was supposed to be in the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in the first one, but had elevated liver enzymes.
Yeah,
so
That's
they
right.
Big Show had to tag in instead.
And Lashley was supposed to be in one of them, but he had like enhanced liver enzymes too, or something like that.
That was the same pay-per-view. He was supposed to be in a three-way with Regal and
Yeah.
Finlay,
Yeah.
the US title, and he couldn't make it. And the others just had a great match anyway.
Yeah. And,
So, looking at these matches, I've got a real good chance of catching up Chucks at this pay-per-view.
Yeah, could happen. I mean, it couldn't, but don't stop believing.
I could get equal with Smoot, though, because we've got 2 matches where we're going with different predictions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, we will see.
We'll see what happens. Since there's 8 matches, I don't think there's going to be like a surprise 9th or anything like that.
Does Great Khali get involved in the Punjabi Prison?
Ooh.
Bonus question. Does he come out going...
I hope so, but no.
Smooth's actually typing that up, isn't he?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Yeah. That's what he's doing.
Gotta be done.
What do you think? Beans?
Yeah, but only if he makes them noises that I've already given the perfect description of.
I wanted to see them noises in text form.
Will?
Wow. No.
No? Okay.
I'm pretty sure that says you gaga.
Close enough. Close enough.
Oh,
If you said something, just made some noises in court, would that person who has to transcribe everything that's said have to write that? What would they say?
I think they would put in that they said something that wasn't clearly vocalized.
Brackets unintelligible.
Yeah, or incoherent noises and bracket.
Right.
There you go.
Not inaudible, because you can hear it.
That's
What other bonus questions can we have? Ed's asking whether there will be over or under 2.5 references to SummerSlam during the pay-per-view.
Over.
Oh, of course, over. I mean, one of the matches is a #1 contenders match for SummerSlam.
Yeah. I think you'll get more than 2 just from that match alone.
Yeah.
So hang on, out of our predictions, I'm just wondering how many Americans will win in the Battle of America versus the World at this pay-per-view. So, Canadian.
Money in the Bank cash-in. How about that?
Oh, that's one way to get Mahal out of the title picture for SummerSlam.
I don't know that they want him out of it.
I'll put Corbin in it.
Wait, wouldn't that just give you Mahal versus Corbin at SummerSlam?
Pretty sure they're having a main event like last week.
Oh, shit. That was one of them knee-jerk reactions where you don't think about the consequences. Kind of like when you make a comment about John Cena talking about 9/11.
God.
I do apologise. So, no, I don't think it'll be a cash-in. They could do a tease. I don't know, they won't actually, because it won't make any sense.
Yeah, I'll go no as well. I think with SummerSlam lurking right around the corner, I think you'll probably have one person, either Carmella or Corbin, cash in at SummerSlam. Not the pay-per-view leading up to it, so I'm going to say no as well. Chucks, Will?
No.
No.
Well, that was a lame bonus question then.
Will?
Well,
No.
No? Okay.
will Batista interfere in the Punjabi Prison? I'm trying to think of it. But again, it's just because it's such a predictable looking pay-per-view.
Will JBL make a terrible joke about Shane McMahon's helicopter crash?
Oh,
that's-
shit! There's something.
That's better. I'm going with that. JBL.
Will Shane
faceless
McMahon?
joke,
Will Shane McMahon ride into the arena from the ceiling on a helicopter to open the
helicopter
pay-per-view?
crash.
Do you reckon he'll come out? Where's the pay-per-view being held?
Hold on. I'll tell you that in just a moment.
I hope it's not in the Big D again. I had enough hearing announcers talk about the Big D.
Battleground. The Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
So he's going to come out and he's going to go, "What up, Philly?" And then go, "I'll tell you what isn't up. My helicopter."
Oh, Chopper isn't up. He is getting to be that kind of age, I suppose.
But yeah, I'll totally go yes with JBL making a tasteless joke on Shane's helicopter crash. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would say yes, and I would also suggest that there may be jokes.
Yeah, it'll be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it might get as many references as SummerSlam.
Chucks?
Jokes about the cop. No, they won't mention it.
Mention it. Definitely gonna mention it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Done. All right. That looks to be your WWE Battleground prediction card.
It certainly does. Ed's also just said, "Will JBL and Byron make a corny Rocky Balboa reference?" I'm sure
probably.
there will be a yeah. I can see Rocky Balboa getting a mention in
I'm
film.
gonna file that under the tasteless copter joke.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Is there any other quick bits we want to mention before we go, or?
No, I'm good. That's in the books for me.
Rightio. Well, thank you very much for listening, everyone. Obviously, enjoy Battleground, which is tomorrow night. We'll be back next week where we'll be reviewing, finding out how much of our predictions have come true. Probably all of them.
Well, not all of them, because we were split on some of them.
Yeah, true. We were actually. So yeah. Check out the website www.iwcradio.com. You can find all the shows on there. You can also find us on YouTube and iTunes. If you search for IWC Radio, give us a subscribe. If you can give us a review, it'd be much appreciated. Thumbs up on the video as well if you can. That'd be great. If you want to send us questions for future shows on Twitter, you can do using the hashtag IWC Radio. And you can also follow the Twitter account, the IWC Radio. And you can follow the links on that to find all of our individual Twitter accounts if you want to find us on there. And I think Smoot may have just trapped his finger in the door. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's what it sounded like. It was that kind of reaction noise. It sounded fairly similar. So thank you very much for listening, everyone. And we will see you next week.
Bye.